Hello, so this is episode 7 of this series I'm doing about how to make poetry with Python, and I'm going to be resuming the example I've been working on. I filmed it last week, so I'm coming back on a Tuesday to try to figure out what's left to do. The major things that I know I need to do are to deal with rhyme, and then figure out how to make two things rhyme with each other, and always choose those two things within my template, and a few other things. So let's get started. I'm going to start the way I have been, just by opening my terminal to launch Jupyter Notebook. I will double check my location. I'll just go straight here, and you can see there, I'm just going to go into my creative coding folder and then open Jupyter Notebook. Oh, I forgot to start my timer. I forgot to do the timers on the last few videos, and they kept getting longer and longer, even though I felt like I was only doing about 10 minutes at a time. So I'm definitely going to start a timer for this one, give it to about 10 minutes. And that should be good for everybody. I'm also going to try to pay more attention to the volume of my voice, and I'll check it in editing to make sure that I'm coming through clearly enough. Let's see, timer. Oh. Okay, great. 10 minutes. That should be good. Okay, so here we are in my creative coding folder. I'm going to go into the examples area where I have the SecretPeaches project that I've been working on. I haven't touched this at all since the last video, so anything you see here is what it should be the way I left it. But as I look through it, I kind of see there's some stuff I need to clean up. Several things that I was doing just to kind of test. Like right here, this is where I was scanning the poem template. I'll probably leave that just as a reference. But other things like testing the getCity function, testing the pronunciation, the syllable counters, things like this. I don't really need a lot of this stuff down here. So I'm going to clean up a lot of these cells and make it easier to read what's actually important here. Within Jupyter Notebook, you can clear a cell or delete it with the scissors symbol. So I don't think I need that one. Don't think I need that or that. I am going to be dealing with rhyme, but I can make that again. That's good. I don't need that anymore. Some of this was possibly some testing that I did. Wait, did I? Yeah, okay. So this was the beginning of my getCity function, but I don't need this anymore. So I can get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. Okay, great. So here's where we are. So just a couple of cells. Here we have the initial template where I am a blank. I live near blank. When I'm alone, I eat secret blank. And then I'm replacing each of those 3 tokens. So 0, 1, and 2. It's hard to point and look with each of these 3 items. And just I'm going to be doing several other replacements, I think. So one change I want to make right now is to format this a little differently, so it's a little bit easier to read. I think I can do this with Python. Sometimes it gets picky about parentheses and line breaks and stuff. So let's just see if this is okay with Python right now. I'm going to need to define my functions first by running that. So I run that cell first, and then I can run this one. And it should print me a poem. Yeah, great. So all I did was I put getAnimal, getFood, and getCity on their own line, so you can see that these are the 3 items. When you use this type of formatting replacement thing, when there has to be the same number of elements here as there are tokens here. If you have an extra one, like if you're thinking, well, I definitely want to place, I want to do something different for this one, so I'm going to go ahead and make that. You have to make sure you put something in place where down here, or it's not going to run. You'll get this error right here. We're just going to say tuple index out of range. What happens is this is actually, it looks like a list, but it's actually a tuple, which is a list with a specific and expected number of items in it. And in this case, it expects 4 items because that's the number of tokens that I put into my template. So when that doesn't match, it gets confused, understandably. So I'm going to just take that out for now, but just keep in mind that you need to make sure that those things match. And this way should be easier to read when they're on their own line like that. So I will rerun that to be clear. All right, so like I said, there's several things I need to do, and I'm going to go ahead and just write these into the code so I remember what I need to do as a to-do item. I'm writing this as a comment. I haven't been doing very much commenting in this example except to turn things on and off, but comments are really useful to help you explain to yourself what you're doing, especially as the program starts to get more complicated like this. So you start to think you need to keep track of what's left to do and what you need to work on. So right now I need to figure out some rhyming. I need to figure out how to make some rhyming pairs within my template. And that's, I don't know, I have 6 minutes on this video left, so I don't know. We'll see if I can get through that. So first of all, the thing that I want to do to use rhyme and start working with rhyme is the rhymes function that's built into pronouncing, which I had looked at a little bit already. I'll try it a little bit down here in some practice cells to see how this works. This is, the documentation link will be in the description for the YouTube video, by the way. But the pronouncing library you can invoke just like this, the module just like by naming it. And then you can ask it for words that rhyme just by asking for pronouncing.rhyme. So this is accessing the rhymes function of pronouncing, and what it expects is a word, and then it will give you back a list of words that rhyme with it. It's very simple compared to the syllable stuff and the counting. It's really just one instruction. So if you want to find the rhymes with peaches, you see that it's beaches, like possessive, and then beaches plural, impeaches, reaches, speeches, and teaches. These are the words that it knows that rhymes with peaches. And as you can see, one of the words that I'm already using is beaches, and there aren't that many more options. So this is worrying me a little bit because I'm going to need to find multiple pairs of rhyming place names that rhyme with food words if I'm going to keep my template the same way it is. So yeah, we're going to have to figure out how to do this. But you can see the idea here. It only knows words that it knows, and it's not a complete database. There are some other libraries I've looked at that might be useful, and I might be able to use to make rhyming on arbitrary words and sounds. So in other words, it doesn't need a dictionary; it just follows a rule. But I haven't experimented with that yet. That might be the next video if it's necessary. Okay, so what I need to do is find two things. I've got the ability to pull a random city that matches the pattern that I need, the 0, 1, 0 stress pattern, and I've got the ability to get a bunch of different kinds of fruits. It might be possible to, or might be necessary to broaden this out so it's not just fruits anymore, but just some kind of food, and that would give me many more options and many more potential rhymes. Like I was thinking, Missouri and curry would kind of match. I'm not sure if pronouncing would agree that it matches. Let's find out. I don't see curry in there, but I feel like that rhymes. And I don't know a lot of these words, so it'll be interesting to figure out how to make this work together. All right, well, we'll try it. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to make a new function that's going to be, it's going to attempt to find, let me think this through for a second. So it's going to attempt to find place names from cities that I have right now that rhyme with that I already have. So one other thing you can do with the pronouncing library to kind of check between two words is to put them in, to do a conditional that checks for the existence of one item in another item's list. And it looks like this. So I actually had a cell like this already up here. I don't remember if I did this in the last video. But so this is going to be a conditional. Beaches in pronouncing dot rhymes. Peaches. So this is going to be a conditional, and it's going to return true in this case because it exists. In a function or in an actual procedural thing, I would use this like if beaches in pronouncing peaches, print whatever I want. Here is rhyme. Oops, I did it wrong. Still getting used to the parentheses. Okay, so there you go. So that's the same thing. So it matches. It just says that beaches is in peaches in the list of words that rhyme with peaches. And that's all I'm checking for here. Just to kind of check it, I could also try something like riches. That almost rhymes but doesn't. So it doesn't print anything. I don't have any options here. I haven't done this yet, I don't think, but I'll show you. This is what you do if you want to have kind of two options. So that, or you can add more than two, but if you want to have a test and then one thing happens if it's true and another thing happens if it's false, you can do something like this. Sorry. So this is The same kind of thing, but it's really just testing. It's bitwise. It's just on or off based on the truth or falseness of this expression here, which is riches in pronouncing without rhymes for peaches. And in this case, it's false. Even though I feel like that's a pretty close rhyme. I might want to check into between videos. I think I'll check and see if the pronouncing library if you can tweak how close the rhyme has to be for it to match. I'm not sure if that's built into it or not, but we'll see. Okay, so I'm going to try to, I guess I'll just make a new function. So I'm going to make a function, I'll call it find pairs, and it's going to go through, I need to get my list of animals and my list of cities. I feel like I'm going to end up refactoring all this, by the way. So this is going to be, what I'm about to do is going to be really duplicative, but it's going to be okay. So I'm going to actually just take this whole chunk of code out of there, and or you know what I could do? Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite these functions, both of these. So instead of returning a single item from that random choice, they're going to return the whole keepers list, because I need to do some more work with those keepers to see if they can rhyme with each other. So I think this will save me some time. There goes my timer. Just to keep things, just in case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy these. I'm going to make a series of very similar functions down here in this new cell, and I will call them, I'll just name them like plural. I shouldn't need both of these eventually, so I will probably end up deleting one or the other set of these, but I'm going to keep this the way it is now. So I will say, instead of returning that random choice, I'm going to return keepers. I need to do a bit more work on get foods, but I'll come back to that. And I need to return keepers here. Just kind of run those. Okay, what do I need to do here? So remember, I was making a blob out of that choice of keepers here and then returning it pluralized. Yeah, so I think what I need to do is instead just pluralize the whole list and then return that whole pluralized list to make it match. Although the pluralizing is probably going to throw off my rhyming, and so that I may regret this, but I'm going to try it right now anyway. So, or I could just pluralize it. No, I'll do it here. So, just to make it clear to myself, I'm going to do something kind of awkward here. I want to call this not get foods, but get foodses, just to show that it's actually a list of foods that are pluralized. And I don't know if that makes sense to other people when they see this kind of code, but this is the kind of thing I do to help remind myself what this is. Okay, so what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go through the whole keepers list and do this pluralizing on it. Except I'm doing it on text blob, not the random choice, but just K. And then I'm going to say, I can't remember if I can operate on a list in place, so I'm just going to make a new list. I'll make it keepers is. This is an example of like bad programming, by the way. This is one of those things that I'm not that good at, so it'll work, but don't necessarily think of this as like the right way to do this. Because this is all kind of overwrought, but it kind of works. All right, so I'm going to do blob.words. Okay, and then return. Because I could probably pluralize it as I build it up here. In this place, I don't need to like make a copy of the list that's pluralized. I could probably just pluralize it as I pull it out of PyCorpora. That would make more sense, but this I think will work fine. So I'm just going to keep it the way it is for now. So I'll check that. Okay, so I'll try each of these new functions out and then call it quits for this video. So get cities, there they all are. Get animals, there they all are. And then get foods, there's all them. Okay, so great. So that's it. I think that'll be it for this episode, and then I'll move in. I haven't really accomplished any of my goals yet, but I've made some progress. So that's it for now.